There's some. What is that one drone that you just toss in the air and it takes off and it follows you down the ski slope and all that stuff?
I don't know exactly.
Oh, it's crazy cool, and like $199.
Yeah, no, I've actually been pricing drones past couple weeks. Actually, I think I'm about ready to jump. I want to get out there on the road, maybe a couple practices. You know, I think at the PF. I don't know if I've got the stones to pull out the old drone for when we're in, the facility, but, on the road, hey,
So how long before, I wonder, like in-house, we would have one flying around the arena shooting games? No? Not going to happen? It'd be kind of cool.
I hear that one of our recent hires does have a drone that he has access to, so
Burns. John Burns has a drone.
Burns.
Yeah, Burns.
Break it out, Burnsy.
Yeah. He has, and Burns doesn't go small on stuff.
Oh, no, I know. Burns is legit. Yeah. That's the one you have to have, like, the FAA certification to fly.
Can't fly it by, any flight pass.
And knowing Burnsy, he's out at the airport flying.
Yeah, I don't think
exactly.
So. Case, your thoughts on last night? I mean, a lot of things, a lot of positives. Grabbed a 21-point lead, and clearly the outcome not vital in the exhibition season. I think it was a game Portland could have put away and won. Had they, kept their guys in. And George Karl was looking.
Well, they were up 14 at the end of 3.
Right, and George Karl was looking at his guys, and he took Cousins out, and that's what won them the game. Yeah. You could argue with the way that Bellinelli played and the way that Collison shot the ball late. But your overall thoughts on the game?
I thought it was really a really quality start for this team. I think too that for fans as well. I heard you guys talking about how the fans kind of. Seems like there's quite a bit of excitement and a good turnout for Fan Fest, and I think last night. I think it validated some of that for particularly for the folks that maybe being a little more optimistic about kind of where the team is going. I thought it was really a great start for the team. I thought in the first half when they were playing Lillard and Plumlee and Myers, I thought that like you guys talked about the cutting, the ball movement. I thought it really seemed like a good distillation of Terry Stotts' system and one that I think that's something we've talked about a little bit. How without LaMarcus on this team now the system will probably be more what the actual core of it is now because there's not a guy to dump it down to anymore. So now it's straight motion.
28% of the offense ran through LaMarcus.
Yeah, so I mean you take that away and
it probably should have.
Well, sure.
Yeah, no, and that's what they should have been doing.
Yeah.
But it's a style of basketball that kind of slows things down a bit, and with Terry's offense, that ball wants to be moving, and I think we saw that last night. I think defensively as well, they looked a lot better than I was expecting them to.
And on the same, if you look at the Kings, when Cousins was in there, he was effective, but it took away from everything else.
Right.
Offensively, they wanted to do.
Bellinelli had to be thrilled that he was in there. Cousins wasn't.
And they wouldn't have been working that high pick and roll for him to shoot.
They wouldn't have won the game.
Yeah, and it's.
I mean, that's not taking anything away from Cousins is what he is, but is it in the team concept? And all of a sudden you play these guards and Collison and Bellinelli start going crazy on you, and I guess it gives you options, is what it does.
Sure.
But it does show. It's a good illustration of.
And George Karl has never been a throw it into the post guy. He's been pressure defense, which they haven't established yet, but he's always been in passing lanes. He's always run from the make and the miss, and he's never really included. He was one of the originators of small ball.
Right.
He played small ball before almost anybody else. Him and Mark
and Don Nelson.
Yeah, Nelson, of course, originated it, and D'Antoni was another one that went small ball, and that's what won for the Warriors last year. Game 4, they switched to small ball, and they had the chemistry to do it, and you need the chemistry to go. And if they go small ball, the Kings, they're going to have DeMarcus as the one big guy, because if he's on the bench and they're doing like they did last night, they've got all and Rajon Rondo, if he's on the bench and Collison's doing well, right now Collison's a better player than Rondo.
And I think people saw that last night.
Yeah.
And it's hard to play a small ball offense when your point guard can't shoot. Which Rajon Rondo.
Yeah, right.
It's not. I mean, you need guys out there that can shoot.
Speaking of shooting, the Blazers end up last night going, if I can even find it on the stat sheet.
Yeah, you have to separate between the bench and
horrible
the
change.
Collective.
10 for 31. So I actually had to find where that was.
Yeah.
This new stat sheet. Come on, man. And it's not us; it's league wide, and I'm sure everybody's complaining.
When the head coach, when he starts out his post game comments with, "Do you guys dislike this new box score as much as I do?"
Gosh.
Then
anyway,
you know that it's a problem.
Yeah, my point is, they shoot 32% from 3. That's probably where it's going to be.
Yeah.
So what do they? Because the 3-pointer was such a huge weapon for this team last few years, and some of that was LaMarcus. And he kicks it back out, and you get open threes. How are they going to make up for the not deficiency, but the loss maybe of at least partial loss of what was a huge weapon?
Well, I think you expect, obviously, Myers is going to shoot. He's probably going to double his 3-point attempts, you would imagine, this season if he stays healthy and is able to stay out of foul trouble. As you know, he had a little bit of foul trouble last night, but I thought a really good game from him. I think Mo Harkless is a guy who, I've talked about this a bit. He shot 18% last year. He's going to shoot much better this season. I mean, just
he's going to shoot like he did 2 years ago.
Well, right. Well, I mean, he's going to be better than 18%. As well. And I'm not going to say he's going to come out there and shoot 45%, but it's going to be a whole lot better than the way he did last year. And I think you've heard a lot of talk about guys like Aminu, guys like Henderson, who maybe not great 3-point shooters overall, but decent corner 3-point shooters, and they're both playing, in the 2 of the 3.
Shoot 40 from the corner.
And exactly, and I think Terry is smart enough and is adept enough at the offensive game planning to know that, hey, we're gonna have to maybe get those 3-pointers elsewhere. I do think they're gonna continue shooting them because I mean that's part of the offense. Again,
they're gonna shoot.
It's gonna.
And now, last year they attempted 2,200.
Yeah, probably not this year.
Yeah, probably not. But it's going to be a big part of this team's success or failure is how they shoot, because they're going to continue shooting. His offense is built on spacing, penetrating, getting back out to the 3-point shooters, and they're just going to have to do it a different way than they did last year in their offense.
Guy I thought was terrific, who we really haven't talked about at all tonight, and that's probably a good thing because he just blended in so well, was Mason Plumlee.
Yeah.
I think he's a better defender maybe than people thought. He's behind Brook Lopez in Brooklyn, and he certainly played some, and we know the athlete that he is, and making Team USA and being a favorite of Coach K, which is never a bad thing. But I thought he and Myers kind of seamless as far as the big man tandem last night. That is an athletic pair that can get up and down the floor. Mason, I think, can block a lot of shots, and I think Myers has learned how to block shots and maybe even learned some from Mason.
Absolutely. And on the offensive end, a real legit pick-and-roll guy. I mean, and that's, you guys know the league is a pick-and-roll league, and the Blazers haven't been as much of a pick-and-roll team as other teams because, Robin Lopez is not really a guy who you kind of give the ball to and I've rolled to the basket. Mark is more of a pop guy. But, I mean, I think Plumlee, I think Myers, I think Ed Davis, I think eventually Vonleh. I think all those guys really have the possibility of being really good players.
More than anything, they're willing passers. They're not good passers yet.
Plumlee's a pretty good passer.
Yeah, he's a willing passer. In past, all the teams he's been on, it's not one of his strengths. But in Stott's offense, they have a tremendous, because the offense starts with passing into the one of the two guys foul line extended, and so they'll handle the ball a lot. And I think Myers Leonard is getting better. They're looking all the time to pass the ball, so that's the first step in becoming a good passer. Throughout history, there's assist totals haven't been great, but when they're willing, like J.J. Hickson was an unwilling passer. He never looked to pass to anybody, and no one ever knew if he could pass or not.
He made Al Jefferson look like John Stockton.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Jefferson's another one. He's even in double teams, he's figuring out how to beat the double team. Whereas you double team Plumlee, now not many people will, and he'll find out, man, with CJ on one wing and Henderson and Lillard, I'm going to get a lot of opportunities to throw that little hook shot, and that's Myers is at it. He's worked on that hook shot in practice, and it's going to come. No one has seen it yet, but I've watched it in practice. He has a nice
I'm still laughing about Jefferson because I remember the story we were told in Utah by a Jazz employee last year of when Jefferson and Enes Kanter played together, and Kanter is this young, fresh-faced guy. And Jefferson took him aside and said, "Don't pass the ball."
Yeah.
Cantor said that was the lesson.
That stuck with him for years.
And
Yeah.
believe
Don't
me,
pass the ball.
Cantor doesn't.
No, I know.
He took that one to the bank. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We'll take a break. We'll come back with our final segment of Trailblazers Courtside. Casey Holdahl, our guest. You can find his stuff, his great stuff, as always, on forwardcenter.net. Trailblazers losers last night to Sacramento in overtime, although it was a preseason game, so the outcome is secondary, if not further down the list. Back with more after this.